I'm gonna share something with y'all that I shared with someone I consider an ally, I'll say. They love us when we self-destructing. But when we go to reconstructing that into something constructive, you see a difference. And the reason why I shared that with whom I did was because in what was being shared with me, I felt compelled to say that, not only by what I was being shown and what was shared with me, but and because of what was shared with me, I saw through my own life. They love us when we self-destructing. And friends, family, associates, fake friends, fake family, fake associates, whatever, your community, they love us when we self-destructing, because in a lot of cases, it gave them something to talk about. In a lot of cases, we was the news for those of us who was on self-destructive paths once upon a time. We was the news that long as they kept us in their mouth, it allowed them to look better to others. But what does that say today? You hear me? And for those who has shifted, who has flipped the script, as we use that term, those of us who has flipped the script, what does that say today? Because a lot of those people that we used to be their news on our path to self-destruction, they still in the same loop. Stillness, good thing, love, light, health, and wholeness to the Common Conscious family and soul tribe. I shared that because when it comes to things like peace, love, joy, happiness, health, and well-being, just to name a few on the higher spectrum, those are things that I value today like never before. But it was the exact opposite of those words, that gave me the space, gave me the place, gave me the inclination to have something to work towards. I share that because it's summertime, family. It's summertime, and it's hot. You hear me? Wherever you at. And it don't matter where you at. You probably can be. It's probably hot in Alaska right now, cause the heat doing what the heat do. But it's summertime and it's hot, so it's gonna be a lot harder to hide behind what hasn't been healed. You hear me? It's gonna be a lot harder for us to hide behind what hasn't been healed. For those of us who not doing no healing, for those of us who not doing no shadow work, for those of us who not doing no self work. And for those that's off, pay attention. Pay attention, you hear me? See beyond the illusion. See beyond the confusion. See behind the veil of appearance disguised as a mask, you hear me? I say that because a lot of grown-ups ain't grown up. Whether we admit it or not, whether we can recognize it or not. But how our childhood has affected us concerning the learned behaviors that we have learned from our childhood and carried into our adulthood plays very significant importance in each and every one of us as adults. You know, how has learned behavior from childhood affected or impacted our adult life? How has learned behavior from childhood still impacting or affecting our adult life? How many of us has even considered that? Or how many of us has even made a connection between the two? Whether we have or not, what makes it so important to me, especially if you're hearing this now, because you have an opportunity to look into it. You have an opportunity to do something about it. You have an opportunity to change course if a change of course is needed, to change direction if a change of direction is needed. You hear me? As I said before, every grown-up hasn't grown up. And those who growing through what we appeared through are starting to recognize this through our associations, through our family, through all that we experience and who we having an experience with. And I say that because now, in this time called right now, there is no room for confusion. There is no room for illusion. There is no room for delusion, you hear me? Or deception. Self-applied or externally accepted. If it ain't in you, it's only because you're not doing the work. It may be because you're not willing to look at what needs to be looked at to make the necessary corrections, the necessary adjustments. But we will need consistency. We will need discipline. We will need the time, and all you gotta do is take it. And it will require some effort. I share that because it's become such a cliche, because I can't think of a better word at the moment. It's become such a cliche to hear we create our own reality with our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Yet, our thoughts, beliefs, and actions, in most cases, has been influenced and stimulated through our upbringing. Why is that an issue of importance or an issue for discussion? Because we're in a world full of disguises. We're in a world where it's comfortable behind the mask. If you're living behind the mask, it's only because you don't use the mask so long that you find comfort there. You hear me? But energy don't lie. Energy don't lie. I say that because in this time that we call right now, the greatest investment that we can make is in ourselves. And that's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And that's important to me because it's as I said before, as long as we were self-destructing, it was okay. Because in most cases, the path to self-destruction that a lot of us might be on, or that I was on, it gave people a lot of access to me. That had I been doing something different with my life when I was on that path for self-destruction, before I pulled my own coat, before I pulled my own coat, it gave people access to me that I probably wouldn't have had I probably would have allowed no access family, friends, whoever. It don't matter. This is not personal, but this is personal. You hear me? And not towards anybody else, but towards me and this journey that I'm on. You hear me? So I say that to share. It may not have started with me. Just like in most cases, it probably didn't start with you. Because we're speaking about learned behaviors, good, bad, or indifference. It may not have started with me. But there are some things that within myself I decided had to end with me. You hear me? And in order to put a stop to negative cycles, I had to put myself under the microscope. So hopefully I'm speaking to somebody. If you ain't under the microscope and you come across this message, you will use what you're hearing to put yourself under the microscope. You hear me? And get to work. To be a positive example and shine your love and light in the world, sometimes all you can do is be it. Sometimes all you can do is live it. It's not maybe necessarily what you tell nobody or what you have to tell nobody or what you do for nobody. You hear me? Just live it. So in choosing the path where I can do the most good in the world, all fingers pointed back to me. You hear me? For whoever need to hear. In choosing the path that you can do the most good in the world, begin with you. And from that space, be it through the way that you live. And let that be your example. You heard? Let me pull this card since it wanted to jump out. Pull yourself close. Pull yourself close. Every part of your being is deserving of love. And choosing the path where you can do the most good in the world is going to start with yourself. Pull yourself close. That's a 27. 2 plus 7 become 9. Born. 9 represent of most things endings. And anytime there's an ending, there's a beginning on the other side. It's closing the cycles. You hear me? To put a stop to the negative cycles, who it's gonna start with? It can't start nowhere else other than within ourselves. You hear me? Pull yourself close. Throughout life, harmful events can occur that bring about a splintering of the inner self. This separation within the self can be a necessary survival tool when our inner world becomes overwhelmed and we are unable to process our current events. However, the inner self will always desire reconciliation. Lord. However, the inner self will always desire reconciliation of these splinter aspects. And because of this, these banished parts will experience pain as long as there is separation. By pulling these splinter aspects of the self close in love and acceptance, we can bring healing to our inner world. Acceptance exercise. Take time today to sit with yourself and embrace the aspects of your inner child that may have been abandoned. These aspects might be labeled good or bad, or they might be a missing place or a broken piece. Remember that all of these places inside of us are beautiful and worthy of love. And if any of these places have caused you pain, know that they were trying to protect and serve you in the best way they knew how. And I can relate to that because I was sharing with someone a few days ago, you know, my shadow side, or my dark nature, you know, was all I know how to live through because I had grow used to living from it so long. You know, it's what protected me. You hear me? You know, this my more lighter and brighter side. But if you get it, you get it. If you are able to identify a particular aspect of yourself that is asking for reconciliation, try writing a letter as that aspect. If you are able to identify a particular aspect of yourself that is asking for reconciliation, try writing a letter to that aspect or as that aspect. Once you have finished, review the letter and respond to that inner part of you with love and acceptance. You can also practice responsive journaling by writing as if you were in a conversation with your separated piece. Ask this piece of you any question you have and write down the responses without judgment. Once you are done, it can be quite cathartic to place your letter in a sacred place or to burn it in a releasing ritual. To practice the releasing ritual, set your intention to let go of all expectations before burning the letter. Be sure to only burn paper and to do so safely. Brown paper bag. At the end of this practice, close your eyes and imagine pulling this aspect close in a loving embrace. Let them know how much you truly cherish them. Responsive journaling prompt. How can you show the rejected aspects of your inner child love today? You hear me? Because we all can use some. Pull yourself closer, you hear me? Stillness and good things, love and light, health and wholeness. Feel good for no reason at all. You hear me? Only you can do it. If you ain't got a reason, I hope you have found one through the words that you have heard today to encourage you. You hear me? Peace, love, joy, happiness, health, and well-being. To the Cosmic Conscious Family and Soul Tribe, the new subscribers, welcome to the family. Peekaboos and passerby, you hear me? Y'all can get some too, you heard? With that, Sabu was out. Love y'all.